Okay. Muslim Gadjimagomedov taking on Zhaoxing Zhang, or as his first name is, Zhang Zhaoxing. This is for the WBA Bridgerweight title, and I know people don't want to talk about this title or the weight class, but yet again, it exists, so it already exists right now, so yeah, guys, it stinks. So, guys, what does this title have to do, guys? Here's the thing, guys. The reason I'm talking about this topic is something interesting. Now, Muslim Gomedov, I'll spell his half of his last name. He's been in the amateur boxing for a lot. In December 24th, 2021, his debut was against a 17-8 fighter. He goes round 2 KO. And then instead, he retires. He just continues boxing. He took a long hiatus at that time until October 2022. He fought one tournament in the amateur. And then 2023, he fights. He loses against gold medalist of the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games, Julio Cesar La Cruz. The secondary heavyweight, not the super heavyweight, like Bakajir defeated Richard Torres. Not that. That's a different heavyweight. That's a super heavyweight. Julio Cesar was the heavyweight gold medalist in the second tier when he defeated Muslim. And then by May, he went on, he wins, he barely squeaks out a good win against Lazizbek Malajanov, which that's also another amateur fighter that has had great wins in his career. And surprisingly, that guy also defeated Julio Cesar Cruz, and he also took on Jalalov, the gold medalist of 2021 super heavyweight. He did defeat him last December in 2022. So yeah, these countries are really good. And then by that, he decides to go back to heavyweight. Muslim did. October 27th, he defeats him, fight 8 rounds. And then 6 weeks later, on December the 9th, he goes against Arthur Mann, 20-3, wins by round 8, ring tournament retirement, and now that's it. But Zhang, the Chinese fighter, his career is out of control. 2017 debut, split decision draw. Not good. He wins some fights against, nobodies. And then in January the 19th, he takes on a fighter with 10 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, gets dominated, his first loss. But he tries to recover, wins some fights. By that year, he took on a man with 9 wins, undefeated, gets him out in the first round. And then that made his career bigger in 2020 when he won the WBC Asian Cruiserweight. When he did, July 17th, 2021, he takes on Riyad Murray for the WBA World Cruiserweight. Riyad dominated him. It was a squash match, 8 rounds by TKO. Not one round was won by Zhang. And guys, just so you viewers know, Zhou Zhang, there's no relation to that. Guys, Zhang is actually a first name by a Chinese person. If you look up Chinese names, they'll always say that the last name is Zhang, but in real life, Zhang is actually the first name. In China, they always represent their first name as their last name, and their last name is their first name, if that makes any sense. But anyway, Zhang Zhaoxing is his last name. He takes on Raleigh Lambert 2 years after his loss. So he took 2-year hiatus. This was an underdog win. This guy was 16, 1-1 at the time, and Zhaoxing won. He barely won by 10 rounds. And then come February, he takes on Evgeny Romanov, 19-0. And Romanov was already past out his prime at the time, 38 years old. And also, they were both 221 pounds. Zhaoxing decided that he was 198 pounds at the time in August during his last win against Raleigh Lambert. And then he gained 20 pounds in 221 to take on Romanov. So that technically, this is also for Bridgerweight contenders. They're in the Bridgerweight at this moment. Romanov knocked out Zhaoxing in the final seconds of the first round. But wait, Zhaoxing knocked back him in round 2, and the fight was over. Romanov, 19-0, has lost his first fight in an underdog story. Now, Zhaoxing, I just don't think he's going to win. He's a good 6'2" guy, but I don't think these Chinese boxers knows how dangerous these Russian fighters are. And even though Muslim only has 3 wins in his professional career, I do see this 12-round fight being an interesting fight. This fight's going to take place on July the 12th, 2024 this year. There's also another fight for a WBA interim world super featherweight title against a couple other guys, but that's has nothing to do with it. But yeah, that's all I can say, guys, is this, that considering whoever wins is the winner. Also, keep this in mind, guys. By the way, Muslim did decide to go back to amateur on April this year, and he won 4 fights against some interesting good fighters at the time. Some hard, tough fighters, and he barely won the tournament for the EUBC Elite Men's Champion in Belgrade this year in April. So that's another tournament he won. But if he can win this WBA Bridgeweight title, if he doesn't go 8 rounds, better, yeah, if he doesn't knock out Xiaoxing Zhang in 8 rounds or even 7 or 6 rounds or something like that, more than how Riyad Murray did it him in 8 rounds, then we might not see this guy win. Now, I don't think Muslim is that much of a power puncher, but still, he's 27 years old. He's a really dangerous fighter. Zhang, on the other hand, well, he is 28 years old. Both of these guys are in the Bridgeweight division right now, so if Muslim can win this fight, I think this might up his standards as a heavyweight contender. I could actually see this guy being a really scary opponent in the next years of this decade. As long as boxing doesn't keep on, as long as the heavyweight boxing doesn't keep on going in 2024 and 2025 and 2026 with only 3 fighters we're talking about, and those fighters are Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois, and Anthony Joshua, then who knows? Because, guys, I want to see these great fighters have a chance to make it to the big time. And Muslim, Gomedov might have a chance. If he defeats Zhang for this WBA Bridgeweight title, he might have a chance to get some recognition, and he might win. But I think he has to wait for that opportunity until all the dust clears out. And I think every other fighter has to know about that boxing isn't... People aren't talking about these guys yet because the only fighters people are talking about in the heavyweight boxing are just Alexander Usyk, AJ, Fury, and Dubois. No one's talking about Ajit Caballel or even Zhilei Zhang for that matter, or even Joseph Parker or Jared Anderson. Maybe they are, but the only people that have heavyweight titles are Dubois and Usyk. That's it. Like, guys, here's the problem. If Alexander Usyk, if they do have a rematch with Fury in December, what's going to happen then? Usyk might win, and then what's his next fight? His next fight's going to be AJ or Dubois if one of them win in Wembley this September? What? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And what's the month again? September the 21st at Wembley. Sheesh. And what are they going to do? Have a rematch with Usyk? Why do we want to have a rematch with Usyk? Like, we're here to see other contenders have a chance for a title shot. Hell, Martin Bakal has been number 1 in the WBA for a long time, for a year now. Well, almost a year after Deontay lost his recognition. It's such a ridiculous aspect. And he's taken on Jared Anderson, the guy that failed a DUI when getting arrested for operating under the influence this spring this year. It's such ridiculous. Like, guys, there's so many other great boxers in the rankings right now, but if Usyk wins, he might take on Anthony Joshua or Dubois this year and next year in 2025. What's his next fight going to be in 2026? Dubois? Or AJ? What about the other fighters that are trying to have a shot for the title? Like, guys, Phil Perkovich has had so much time going for a title shot that it failed because the referees and everyone, they screwed Phil Perkovich on purpose to give Daniel Dubois the win because he's British and they just don't want British people to lose the heavyweight title. And that's it. We have Anthony Joshua and Dubois, both British. None of the Britishes are going to lose the IBF title, and that's it. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, man. No, I'm not buying that. That is such BS, and I hate every bit of it. And I just hope Muslim doesn't get involved with this, because this is why I want Alexander Usyk to just retire the belts. That's that. End quote.